Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive. This time we're diving headfirst into the world of Klaytn blockchain, a platform that's all about speed and real-world use.
And from the looks of it, they're not messing around. The tech they've put together is impressive, to say the least.
Yeah, the materials you sent over were pretty eye-opening. Klaytn's going for enterprise-grade reliability, super high transaction speeds, and they want to keep costs way down. Plus, they've been around since 2019, which in the blockchain world is like dog years, right?
Right, and they've already got some big players on board, which says something.
Okay, so for our listeners who are maybe new to this whole blockchain thing, can you break down why those goals are so important? Like, what's the big deal about immediate finality, for example?
So imagine you're buying something online, right? With Klaytn, you'd know instantly, and I mean instantly, that your transaction went through. 1 second, boom, done. No waiting around for confirmations, no wondering if it went through or not. For businesses, this is massive. It just streamlines everything.
1 second, seriously.
Yeah.
That's way faster than most blockchains out there.
Oh, yeah. It's a whole different ballgame. And then there's the cost factor. We're talking gas prices here. The fee for every transaction on a blockchain. Klaytn's aiming for fees that are like a tenth of what you'd pay on Ethereum, which, as you know, is still the big dog in the room.
Okay, so cheaper and faster transactions. I can see why people are excited about this. All right, so we've covered why Klaytn matters, but how do they actually pull it off? The big picture diagram you shared shows this three-tier system.
Yeah.
The CCN, the ENN, and the SCN. Sounds a little like alphabet soup to me.
Yeah, they love their acronyms in the tech world, but it's actually pretty elegant when you break it down.
All right, hit me with it. What's the CCN all about?
So the core cell network, that's your foundation. Think of it like the conductor of an orchestra, making sure everyone's in sync. It's responsible for verifying transactions, keeping everything secure, and basically making sure the whole system is humming along.
Okay, so the CCN is keeping the beat. What about the ENN? Where does that fit in?
The Endpoint Node Network is like the bridge between us, the users, and the CCN. It handles requests, processes information, and makes sure everything's flowing smoothly.
So it's kind of like the customer service department of the blockchain world.
Exactly. They handle the interactions so the CCN can focus on the big picture. And then we have the SCN, and this is where things get really interesting.
All right, lay it on me. What's so special about the service chain network?
This is all about customization and scale. See, the SCN lets developers create their own independent blockchains, they call them service chains, each fine-tuned for a specific purpose.
So like you could have a service chain just for supply chain management, one for healthcare records, whatever you need.
You got it. It's like having dedicated blockchain lanes for different types of data, which is a big part of how Klaytn achieves those crazy speeds we were talking about.
Speaking of speed, they kept mentioning this multi-channel approach and how it contributes to those 1 second block times. Can you, I don't know, demystify that a bit?
Sure. Imagine a highway, right? With Klaytn, it's like they have separate lanes for different types of traffic. Transaction data goes in one lane, block data in another. Everything's streamlined.
So instead of everything being jammed up in one lane, they've got a fast lane for the important stuff.
Exactly. It's like a high-speed rail for block confirmation, bypassing all the regular traffic. This way, even if there's a sudden surge in transactions, the system doesn't get bogged down.
Pretty smart. But how do they decide which transactions go into each block? Who's directing traffic?
That's where the proposer and committee system comes in. Basically, for every block, there's a designated proposer node that gathers up transactions and assembles them into a proposed block.
Okay, so the proposer builds the block. What does the committee do?
They're the quality control team. The committee double-checks the proposer's work, makes sure everything's legit, and then votes on whether to add that block to the blockchain. This keeps things secure while still maintaining those impressive speeds.
So it's like a checks and balances system, but for blockchain.
You got it. Security and speed all in one package.
This is all super impressive. But speed and efficiency aren't the only things that matter. What about trust? Especially when you're talking about something like financial transactions, transparency has got to be a big deal, right?
Absolutely. And Klaytn definitely seems to get that. They talk a lot about open validation in these documents, making sure everyone knows they can verify what's happening on the blockchain.
So it's not just a matter of taking their word for it. They're actually encouraging people to look under the hood.
Exactly. It's like, imagine a restaurant where they prepare your food right in front of you. You see the fresh ingredients, the clean kitchen, the whole process. You don't need to be a chef to know you're getting a quality meal.
Okay, I like that analogy. So even if I don't understand all the technical ins and outs of blockchain, I can still be confident that everything on Klaytn is verifiable and above board.
That's the idea. Klaytn's designed to be trustworthy, even if you're not a blockchain whiz. And that's a big deal, especially compared to some other blockchains out there that can feel a bit, well, opaque.
It definitely sounds like Klaytn's putting a lot of effort into making blockchain more accessible for everyday use. They're addressing the speed, the cost, and, like we said, that all-important trust factor.
They're definitely hitting all the right notes. Which kind of makes you wonder if Klaytn really does become this go-to platform for real-world applications, what could that look like? What becomes possible when you combine this kind of speed, security, and transparency with the power of blockchain?
That's a great question, and honestly, that's what I love about these deep dives. We start with something new and maybe a little intimidating, and by the end, well, my brain's buzzing with possibilities.
And that's the beauty of it. You've got the knowledge now. The only limit is your imagination.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Klaytn. Until next time, keep those brains curious, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.